Hello, everyone. Today we're going to explore two key Excel functions that are very commonly used if you work with Excel. They are SUMIF and SUMIFS. To help us understand how to execute these functions, we'll use this imaginary sales data, which contains the product, region, category, sales amount, and the quantity sold for each product. For instance, let's consider this first row. This means that in North Region, the number of laptops sold were 5 with the price or sales amount of 1,200 rupees. And obviously, the laptop comes under electronics category. Imagine we need to find out the total quantity of laptops sold across all the regions in our dataset. For that, we would want to use the SUMIF function. The SUMIF function performs a sum operation only based on a condition or criteria. That's why it's called SUMIF, meaning calculate the sum only if a certain condition is met. All right, now let's try out the SUMIF function in 3 scenarios. Number 1, find the total number of laptops sold across all the regions. Start writing the SUMIF function in the cell where you want your results to appear. Excel is now asking for the range. This range would be the set of cells where your criteria lies. Our criteria is laptop, and where do laptop lie? In the product column. So go ahead and choose that. Now select the criteria, which is laptop. Fantastic. Finally, Excel is asking for the sum range. This is the set of cells where Excel looks for the numbers to add based on the given condition. So let's drag and select the quantity column because that's where we want Excel to add up the values. Now close the brackets and hit enter. You now have the total number of laptops sold across all the regions. Let's check if our answers are correct. Five plus 4 equals 9 plus 3 is 12. We got the right answer. Now let's try another example. Find out the total number of products sold in the South region. Start typing the formula. Here, the range is the region column, and the criteria is South, and the sum range is the quantity column, just like in the previous example. After selecting it, close the brackets and hit enter. You now have the total quantity of products sold in South region. Again, let's check if our answers are correct. 3 plus 7 is equal to 10, and plus 5 is equal to 15. We got it right. Okay, let's explore one more example and then move on to SUMIFs. Find out the total number of products sold under electronics category. Just like we did before, start writing the command. Choose the category column here as the range. Specify electronics as the criteria. Now, instead of choosing the cell, you can also specify your criteria within quotation marks, just like this. And then finally select the sum range as the quantity column. You now have the total quantity of products sold under electronics category. All right, now that you know SUMIF, we will now explore SUMIFs. Unlike SUMIF, SUMIFs allows you to sum values based on multiple criteria or conditions, meaning you can specify more than one criteria here. Let's try it out with 2 criteria first, and then 3. You can even add more criteria depending on your needs, but for now, we'll stick to these examples. As you can see, we have 2 questions to solve. The first is to find the total sales amount of smartphones in the West region, which involves 2 criteria. Start by typing the SUMIFs command. Did you notice that Excel is asking for the sum range first, unlike SUMIF, where the sum range comes at the end? Okay, so since we want a total sales amount, our sum range should be the sales amount column. Go ahead and select that. Next is the criteria range one. Since we want a total sales amount of smartphone, our first criteria range would be the product column where the criteria smartphone lies. Now, specify the criteria smartphone. Excellent. Next, Excel is asking for the criteria range 2. What is it? Since we want the smartphone sales in the West region, our second criteria would be the region column, and finally specify this second criteria, which is West. Close the brackets now and hit enter. You now have the total sales amount of smartphone in the West region, which is 950 rupees. Let's check if our answers are correct. As you can see, we've got it right. Now, let's try out the second question, which has 3 criteria. We need to find out the total sales amount of tablet in the North region under electronics category. Start typing the command. The sum range would be the sales amount column, just like in our previous example. Next to criteria range 1 would be the product column where our product tablet lies. Choose that. Then specify the criteria, which is tablet. As I said earlier, you can also write it within the quotation marks. Next, choose the criteria range 2, which is our region column. Since we want the total sales amount of North, then specify the criteria North. I am specifying it by typing it here within the quotation marks. Now comes the criteria range 3. Since we need to find out the total sales under electronic category, choose the category column as the range here, and finally specify the third criteria by either choosing the cell or by typing it. Excellent. Now close the brackets and hit enter. Great. We've got it all right. The formula worked perfectly, and the result is exactly what we expected. I hope you now have a clear understanding of how to use SUMIF and SUMIFS functions. Stay tuned for more tips, and I'll see you in the next video.